Hey, cheers my mates! Before we get to the video, I would just like to quickly explain why my video output is kind of a lower amount than usual, and it is, well, simply put, the winter has arrived. And winter and logistics famously don't mix. It's kind of like water and grease fire. Anywho, as the title suggests, there was a scenario, a plausible scenario back in the day, that with the information that we had, that was plausible. Now we know it's simply not plausible. It could not have had happened. Could not have had happened. I hope you know. Did I say it right? No. I'm not sure actually. Anyway, me and Johnny Walker Red were discussing back in May, I believe, on a Zoom call. We were doing a podcast and we had a discussion, and he asked me what would make Kyle guilty. You know, what evidence would there have to be? And I immediately gave him my answer. I gave it immediately because I already knew since the beginning what it would be. You see, when I come to a conclusion, I immediately think I immediately tell to myself, hey, you're wrong about it. And that's not because I have problems with self-esteem or like anything like that. No, because I'm just a human. I can make a mistake. Therefore, I need to probe, I cannot basically, when I come to a conclusion, I can be like, oh, okay, that's it, that's what I think, that's it, that's settled, it is like that. No, I actively say to myself, I'm wrong about it, and yeah, that's the direction I went with. So, you understand, since the beginning thought that Kyle Rittenhouse was innocent. He acted, in self-defense, and that he was there in the first place. He was doing his civic duty as a citizen. Yet, I actively was looking for a potential scenario, potential, evidence, whatever, that would make him guilty in my mind. And I must say, I'm very disappointed in my fellow content creators, and since let's call out some small channels, and that is two guys doing a podcast who I had an absolutely wonderful discussion with. The best one to this day, ever. Guys, you are honestly talented in this, in disagreeing with people. You should honestly think about focusing on that a wee bit more. And with One Man Band TV, and you guys think that Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty, basically. Yet you never thought about any potential scenario, any set of circumstances, etc., that would make him innocent in your mind. And I must say, I'm quite disappointed in this. So yeah, without any further ado, let's jump straight into the old video and tell me, what do you guys think? Just because we know right now that is not the case, it did not happen, but what do you think? Would this make Kyle Rittenhouse guilty in your mind? Maybe, if not legally, would he have at least moral responsibility for what occurred, So, yeah, write it down in the comments, and until the next one, have a good one. Cheers.
All right. So I have a question for you. Unless you have something on your mind that you want to talk about, we can always push it to later.
Ah, it's all good.
What evidence could the prosecution bring to the table that would make you change your mind about Kyle's guilt? Let's just talk about Joseph Rosenbaum's shooting.
If we would go purely legally, that he would maybe steal something from Mr. Rosenbaum. I was thinking about it. I would go, for example, with a lighter. That would be since he was a arsonist, maybe Kyle took it upon himself to be a police officer, like in vigilante, and take his lighter away. In which case, Mr. Rosenbaum chasing after him, he's basically just a person trying to recover his stolen property, potentially. I would not go as
might
far.
be giving Binger some ideas here, though.
Yeah, we yeah. I don't know if we will like put this in a video, because I was actually I have this in my mind in a long time, and I must say I didn't publish it because of the fear, because it's so easy to fake a testimony. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure if we will even publish this part of the video.
Yeah, actually, I was just about ready to say, I think if I were you,
Yeah,
under normal circumstances, I would say, hey, this is honest dialogue.
Yeah.
But we're dealing with Binger.
Yeah.
And he's not smart enough to think of this on his own. But if he heard it, I could easily see him trying to. There's only one small problem: the criminal complaint doesn't mention it, and so they didn't have the evidence at that time. They didn't enter it in evidence, so he might be kind of hard pressed to make that one stick. But
how difficult it would be basically to come to Zeminski, for example, and be like, hey, I can make these things go, because he must have some other things on the plate on Zeminski. I can get these things like out of the way if you, for example, come with a friend that was there with you that maybe seen taking something from Rosenbaum and stuff like that. So yeah.
I mean, as a juror, I would probably not believe it, but I could, if I did believe that, then I could say, okay, Rosenbaum's chasing him is a little more understandable now. That still doesn't necessarily negate self-defense, but at least it makes you think a little bit harder about it.
It simply doesn't make sense for me, because unless Rosenbaum would, for example, at the church leave it somewhere, there's no way he would, from that maniac, they would, Kyle would take it. You know what I mean? Like he would, he would get shot over, giving, some property or something like that. Because as we discussed the first time, I think he was beyond suicidal.
Yeah, and the fact that he covered up his face before he met up with Kyle would indicate that this is a pretty convenient argument. But I mean, hey, if I'm Binger, that may be all I got. So let's not publish this one.
No.
I don't need to give that creep any ideas.
I was, honest to God, I thought about it from the beginning, and I was like, if it's true, it will come up in trial, and if it's not, I mean, I could, to be honest, I could use, basically publish it and say, oh yeah, this is how we could be guilty, and get maybe some subscribers, views, but I simply cannot take that upon my, what I mean, consciousness and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
the danger is that to make that one go, you've got to put Zeminski on the stand, and I don't think the prosecution wants Zeminski anywhere near that stand, because he has crimes of dishonesty in his past, and his wife does too. And now I was going to do another video on his wife, but she has been convicted. She pled guilty to retail theft, a number of counts of it. Now, being misdemeanors, I'm not sure the admissibility of what that is. I know that if it's a felony, that is a felony crime of dishonesty, and they can absolutely open that up on the witness stand. That's Zeminski. The trouble with Zeminski is that he has no respect for law and order at all, none. And therefore, how much is he going to respect the oath he takes when he goes on the witness stand? He's not going to have any. He'll say whatever he needs to say, and his background shows that he just, doesn't care about law and order whatsoever.
Yeah, but as I said, I think, if basically I need to put myself in Binger's shoes, how I would go about it. If, I would be like to Zelinski again. Hey, you come with some friend that was maybe at the church with Rosenborn. We could talk about some, like sweetening the deal or something like that or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, one thing about it is that if he comes to Zelinski with an idea like that, he has committed a serious offense.
Yeah, 100%. But
is barred.
Yeah. But the issue is, I think he's at least morally speaking, he's capable of that now. That it comes to if risk outweighs the reward. You know what I mean? Which I mean, yeah, he could maybe.
I will tell you, Binger is not real smart, but he might be smart enough to realize that if I commit a real serious infraction, I have to put my trust in Zelinski not telling anybody.
No.
It is like, and Zelinski come in 6 months later and say, well, the reason why I said it was because Binger thought it would be a good idea. Oh shit, and now he's lost his license.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm not saying that he. Basically, I would go about it directly, like for example, through third party, whatever, like, oh, I heard a rumor that DA, etc., you know what I mean? Yeah. Where you can be like deny that, but yeah, I don't know.
The fact that it's not in the criminal complaint, I think, is because you guys went and charged him with the evidence in front of you at that time.
Yeah,
and now you're claiming that was the reason, and you didn't even cite it.
Yeah,
I mean. Yeah, I mean
that's why I'm saying he would need somebody new to come in. Hey, like a new witness, basically. Yeah,
the other problem is that has the item that was stolen was it entered into evidence that night? He has no control over that, and so if there was a lighter, they would have to have confiscated the lighter and put it into evidence. If they don't have evidence of that, they probably are not going to be able to use the testimony.
Yeah, but in any case, like it's a story basically that he could use, even to basically fire the media up, etc. Then
yeah, I think that's that's really his plan. I think that's about all he's got is to try to get the media. He wants to get a mob going.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he probably saw what happened with the Chauvin trial and thought, man, this is beautiful.
It's convenient.
I didn't realize it was so effective.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that what he's kind of looking at, I'm going to put my trust in Judge Schrader to put a clamp on that.
But other than that, I must say, I don't see anything that could basically convince me of otherwise. Again, legally, like morally, if for example, they would be like, hey, they would somehow prove that Kyle was, for example, aiming his gun at people and stuff like that. Oh, no, one more. Sorry for if Kyle would honestly say, I'm gonna shoot all you mother lovers or something like that, then yeah, I could see that basically he's a threat, and
well,
yeah.
From a moral standpoint, I agree. From a legal standpoint, it still wouldn't matter. But I could understand how a juror being more swayed by that to say, well, maybe technically it was still self-defense, but he kind of did ask for it. I could see that argument. Yeah. If I'm on the jury, I would probably be having a hard time, I think, convincing some other jurors that you can't do that.
Yeah,
right?
And I must say that I don't think that there's any other possibility because Kyle, every time when he was confronted, he was like, okay, and basically went, for example, the yellow pants or someone else, he was like, okay, and walked away. He was very timid, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, yeah, he certainly. I go back to the very first part. When
just one thing, sorry for that. When I said I could not take it upon my conscience and stuff like that, it wasn't necessarily for Binger, but maybe some activist, what I mean, on internet who really hates Kyle, who was maybe in Kenosha and stuff like that. He could have seen it and be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I will go to the DA. I've seen this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understood that.
Yeah.
I go back to the very first part